Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Notes from the Sewing Room. My name's Becky. Today's video is about everything that I made during April. Apologies that this video is a little bit later than normal, but I've been having a couple of weeks of family time. We've had some time off together, which has been really nice. So today I'm bringing you my video of what I made during April. You've been having a good few weeks, whatever you've been up to. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you today everything that I made over the last few weeks, and I'll shortly be bringing you, I guess, my May makes as well, because we're actually coming towards the end of May as well. So if you are new to my channel is all about sewing, so if that is something that interests you, then I'd love it if you could press that subscribe button and perhaps consider hitting that like button as well, and that would be amazing. So the first make I'm going to start off with is actually the one that I'm wearing. So this is one that I included in my previous fabric plans, kind of sewing plans video, and it's actually made using a vintage pattern, and I have to tell you, I really love it. I wasn't sure how it's going to come out, but it's something that's completely new for me in a lot of ways really. One, using a vintage pattern. Two, doing a Peter Pan type collar, because that's something that I don't do very often, if kind of ever really. I think I have done it before, but quite a long time ago. And also it was really nice to use a nice cotton poplin fabric, because I often forget that it is actually really nice to sew with a cotton, whether that's a quilting cotton or, you know, a cotton poplin, or, you know, whatever you fancy really. But this is actually an art gallery cotton poplin fabric, and it was just so lovely to sew with. The fabric was actually given to me for free in exchange for a review over on the Minerva website, so that's going to be going up there very soon. So if you do follow me on Instagram, I will post on there when my review is live, so you can keep a lookout for that if you'd like to. But I really love the fabric, so let's talk about the fabric first. So I'm just going to move slightly closer to the camera so that you can see the lovely print on the fabric. So as you can see, hopefully, it's got some little paw prints all over the fabric. So whether they're doggy paw prints or, you know, some of the kind of paw prints, I'm not sure, but they're just so sweet. As you can see, it's got a Peter Pan collar here, which is really nice. I've used some shiny black buttons all the way down the front, and I just love these kind of statement sleeves. I just think they're so, well, fun really. I just really like them. Just add something a little bit different. It's got a slight gather just across the yoke just there, and it's also, if I turn around, it's got a slight gather across that back seam as well, which you probably can't see very well there actually. But yeah, it's such a lovely blouse, and it looks lovely tucked into a skirt or out as well. So what patterns did I use? I used one vintage pattern, which was basically for the bodice and the collar and all of that stuff. And then I actually used a free pattern that I got in Love Sewing magazine for the sleeves. So let me show you them. So first of all, the vintage pattern that I used was this one here. So it was actually originally in Woman's Weekly magazine, and it was just available in a size 12. And it seems to have come up quite well on me, to be honest. I wasn't sure how the vintage sizing would kind of work, but it's a lovely, lovely blouse. I actually decided to kind of merge both of these blouses together, sort of version A and version B. So I actually used the Peter Pan collar from this version here, but then I used the long button placket from this one, and just kind of merged them both together. Now they have got some lovely sleeves actually available in this pattern, but I thought, looking at the pattern pieces, they might be a little bit tight on my arms. So I don't think I've got chunky arms, but I sometimes do find that things do come a little bit more fitted around here. So yeah, I just decided that why not, let's kind of merge two patterns together and use another pattern for the sleeves. So the pattern I used for the sleeves was Butterick B6657, which is actually the sleeve pattern that I used for my Frugal Frocks dress that I made. So it's actually this yellow version here with the lovely sleeve. So yeah, it's just such a lovely sleeve. Maybe I'll consider making one of these dresses at some point, but I haven't got around to that yet. Apologies that the packet there is a little bit squiff. It's got a little bit messed up in my my pattern drawer. But I really enjoyed making this blouse. I think for a lot of reasons, because it was completely different for me, because there was a few new skills in there. But most of all, I really enjoyed looking at the old pattern instructions. So these are actually the old instructions that came in the vintage pattern. And it was just so nice to kind of have a look at these, and it just felt like it was different to using sort of modern indie patterns or modern kind of, you know, simplicity type patterns or anything like that. Like, for example, it tells you to make the buttonholes by hand, and I'd never even considered making the buttonholes by hand. Like, I'll tell you, I didn't actually do that. I did actually make my buttonholes on my sewing machine, so I kind of followed the instructions to kind of a certain level, but then I kind of did my own thing as well. So for example, like I said, made the buttonholes on my sewing machine, and then, for example, rather than hand stitching the collar, I actually put that in with my sewing machine. I also top stitched around the collar as well to make it lie a little bit flatter. But yeah, altogether, I'm so pleased with it, and I think it's going to be perfect for kind of the rest of spring and summer, and hopefully it's going to be something that potentially I could wear into the cooler weather as well, with a nice chunky cardigan over the top or something like that. But it's such a lovely cotton poplin fabric, and yeah, thank you to Minerva for sending it to me. It's really lovely. So I'd recommend this fabric to anyone who's, you know, wanting to give this type of shirt a go. But I think the fabric would also work well for lots of other things as well, like a dress or maybe like a summer skirt or something like that. So the nice thing is, even though it's a white fabric, it's actually not see-through. It's got enough weight to it that, you know, potentially you could wear a different colour vest top or a different colour bra underneath, and it's not going to show through. So yeah, that's kind of 2 thumbs up from me. I really like that. So I do feel a bit self-conscious sometimes when fabric's a little bit see-through, but yeah, I'm really pleased with this one. So yeah, so that's my first make of April. So as you'll know, if you are a regular viewer to my channel, I did actually film a video which was all about kind of putting together a capsule wardrobe. So that's something that I'm still working towards, but my plans for April were kind of thrown out of the window a little bit because I was asked to go onto a shopping channel called Hachanda. So the other name they go by now is actually the Craft Store. So I've actually done one lot of freelance work for them previously, and yeah, so it's really exciting to be asked back onto the channel again. And basically I wasn't doing any selling as such, I was doing some demonstrating. So this time I was asked to demonstrate a simplicity pattern, and I've got it here to show you. So this was actually sent to me for free by the channel, but obviously I'm telling you what I think of it in my own words. And this is actually Simplicity 4552, and yeah, it's called Easy to Sew Simplicity, and there's 5 different garments that you can actually make in there. So as part of my demonstration for the show, I had to make a few garments to go onto the mannequins to have in the studio basically, and then I had to finish off a couple of garments on the show. So I was actually on one show on a Friday evening, and then I was on again first thing the next morning. So I did 2 different demonstrations as part of the show, and it was just so exciting. It was really exciting to actually be in the studio, and it was exciting to be sewing kind of on the telly, and yeah, I just kind of loved the whole experience really. It was really good. But you know, I've never worked with this pattern before, but as it says, it is easy to sew. I think if you are new to sewing, there's a lot of techniques in there that you can pick up. So for example, you have to make your own bias binding for the dress here and for the top, so that's potentially a new skill that, you know, sometimes you can be, well, I know certainly I was a little bit worried about doing, but it was so easy, and the pattern instructions kind of just talk you through the whole process, so I was quite pleased with that. And then for one of the other shows, I actually finished off the kimono jacket. So I've got a few of these things to show you. I would say that the sizing on me personally came up a little bit larger than I was kind of thinking that it might. So I did take in the side seams a little bit, but yeah, there's some lovely things in here to have a go at, and again, they're kind of perfect for this time of year. Although having said that, I'm looking out the window and it's blowing a gale, but you know, hopefully we're in May, so the weather's going to get a little bit better. But I think a lot of these things would kind of be suitable for a lot of different occasions. Like if you are going on holiday, perhaps you're having a staycation, you know, you could wear the dress or the top with a nice cardigan and that would be fine. There's also a lightweight pair of trousers, a skirt, and like a nice sash that you could definitely tie to a nice like a nice bag to go to the beach, or you could wear it around your neck, or you could wear it around your waist, or whatever. But I think that could also be really, really nice. So yeah, so I think my favourite of the things that I made for the show was actually the vest top. So this is actually the top here. So if I hold that up there, so this again is a lovely cotton poplin fabric. I love the bright colours on this, particularly the pink that's shining through there. Coincidentally, it kind of goes with my nails, but it's got a lot of nice techniques on this. I actually, for this version, used my own bias binding, or should I say bias binding that I'd purchased for the neckline. So this is actually, I got this from this Becky seamstress, Laura at this Becky seamstress, and it's such a nice bias binding. It's not too heavyweight, it works really nice when you're sewing it, and it's kind of narrower than a lot of the bias binding that I've used previously, which I think works really well, particularly for necklines. So I used this version, which has got the planets on. So I've had some of that before, and I actually ordered some more because I liked it so much. So I think that works really well. But then actually, for the sleeves, I made my own bias binding in the same fabric, so that worked really nice. But yeah, I mean, it's easy enough to make your own bias binding, and as I said, the pattern does kind of talk you through how to do that. But I just quite like having a shop bought bias binding. There's something quite nice about having a little bit of extra detail, I think, on the inside of the top, and a kind of different colourway or a different kind of fabric on the inside there with the bias tape. So but yeah, I think that worked really nicely. I like this fabric because it was easy to sew, and yeah, the techniques involved in this are the bias binding, as I said. It's got some darts just in the front there, and then it's also got a kind of split detail in the side hem. If I just hold that up there, you'll be able to see it, which I think adds a little bit of something different to the top. So those details are actually also on the dress in the pattern pack and the top as well. So I think if you can master the top, then you're well away with the dress, basically. But yeah, I really like that version. I'm going to slip that on in a second so you can see it. But I also made another version of the top for the mannequin in the studio, which was a red version. So sorry, this is a little bit creasy. So this version was made out of a viscose fabric. As you can see, it's got quite a lot of movement to it. So I wouldn't say that this fabric is particularly suitable for beginners. It doesn't mean that you can't use it. It just means that you've got to take your time a little bit more potentially if you are a beginner. But it was a lovely fabric to work with. It washed really well, and yeah, it just feels lovely, against your skin and that kind of thing. And I love red. It's one of my favourite colours. I just think it works really well with my kind of skin tone and everything like that. So yeah, I do like that. I've got a little bit of that fabric left, and I'm thinking that I might make some pyjama shorts potentially to go with this top. I know it's not really supposed to be a pyjama top, but I just think, why not? I think it could make a really nice pyjama set. So yeah, that's something that I'm thinking of potentially for, I don't know, making at some point. My sewing list is just like getting longer and longer and longer at the minute. So yeah, I've kind of got that in mind that I potentially do at some point anyway. So, but I really like that. So I'm just going to slip this one on so you can actually see what it looks like on. So here it is. This is the top. So I like that it's not too low on the front there. I don't have to worry about it being too low on the kind of bust line for me. I'm not too keen on tops that are too low on the front. I just don't feel that comfortable in them. So this is quite a nice kind of level for me, I think. I just like the simplicity basically of the whole top. It's something that I personally think I'm going to get quite a lot of wear out of. I've worn it a couple of times since I actually made it, and yeah, it's just a really nice different top that, to be honest, if I hadn't been on the craft store, I probably wouldn't have made, because I've not really come across the pattern before. But it just shows you sometimes if you push yourself out of your comfort zone and try patterns that you wouldn't have tried before, then actually you can pick up some really nice bits and bobs. And this is a top that, yeah, I really like, and I think it's kind of a classic that I'll be wearing for probably quite a long time. I do hope you can't hear the rain, because I'm actually sat in my summer house at the moment. It's just started to rain, and it's kind of sprinkling on the roof, and I've got a plastic roof in here, so it is a little bit noisy sometimes. So hopefully it's fingers crossed it's not too noisy for you. So the next thing I wanted to show you is again from the Simplicity pattern that I mentioned, and this is actually a kimono jacket. So again, this fabric was sent to me for free by the craft store, but I've actually thankfully been able to keep it. So again, a kind of kimono jacket is not something that I would have gone for as my kind of first sew type project. However, I think now I've got one, do you know what? I think it could work really well as a beach cover-up, or it could be really nice with a nice pair of jeans, or even like a nice floaty summer skirt or something. I don't know, I've not decided. But I'm just going to slip it on so you can see it. Potentially it's a little bit creased again. Sorry, I've been having a few days away, kind of a staycation with my family, and all these bits and pieces came with me on my holiday, so they are a little bit creased. But yeah, this is the jacket. So as you can see, the sleeves are quite wide, but that's quite nice because, you know, in summer you don't want to be too, like, I don't want to wear things that are too tight, but so this is really, really nice. Again, it's got that lovely kind of split detailing in the hem there, so if you just see that, so that's really, really nice. So as you can see, that's the sleeve. Yeah, but it's gorgeous fabric. So we'll just stand a little bit closer, you'll be able to see it. It's got this lovely kind of navy background, pops of kind of grey blue, and yeah, it's just really nice actually. Again, it's a viscose fabric, and this actually came together so quickly. It's finished with a facing all the way around the inside, which I think adds quite a nice finishing detail to it. And I think, yeah, it's going to look nice with a denim skirt, or I don't know really, I think lots of different things. But again, it's not something that I would have thought, oh yeah, I really want to make one of those. But now I've got it, I think, do you know what, it could actually work really nice with a lot of different things, and it's quite nice to make something else that I don't really have in my wardrobe already. I literally have nothing like this in my wardrobe already. So again, it's quite nice to have something different. And again, I think it's a kind of timeless style that's not really going to go out of fashion. So yeah, quite pleased with that really. I'll just stand up also so you can see the length of it, put it straight. Yeah, so it kind of comes to my kind of middle hip, I guess, the middle of my hip. So yeah, but that's the side detail. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that really, and yeah, something new, something different. So yeah, quite pleased overall. So the next things that I want to chat to you about are actually things that I really wanted to make myself, and I'm so pleased with them. You may have actually seen a video that I already recorded about these t-shirts, but I'm definitely planning to make some more because I just love them. So what am I talking about? And that is the Pattern Scissors Cloth Galaxy Tee, and it's just such a lovely pattern. It's free, and it's just a really nice jersey pattern, and it's got some different details that kind of make it stand out from your regular t-shirt. So I've got two different versions that I've made. I made one version in a lovely spotty fabric, which I got from Felicity Fabrics. So if I just hold that up there. So this is a viscose fabric, and it's just lovely. It's worked really nicely for this project. I only had 1 metre of this fabric, and the only thing that I had to do was actually slightly reduce the length of the cuff, but that wasn't because you can't make this out of 1 metre. I think that's just because I didn't lay my pattern pieces out very well, to be honest, on my fabric. And I think if I'd been a little bit more savvy with my layout process, I could have definitely got this project out of 1 metre. But yeah, so I actually made the smallest size in the pattern pack in the end. I had a bit of a trouble with the sizing in the beginning. I've not got the pattern in front of me at the minute, so apologies. But in the beginning, I basically sized between the smallest size and 3 sizes up from that, I think. So I kind of went smallest size on the top and then kind of graded out, but I found there was actually loads of ease in the pattern pack, in the pattern, and because of that I just felt like it was too baggy and I just wanted a bit of a closer fit. So for my first version I ended up taking in on the side seams quite a lot. So for the second version, which is actually this one, I sized down, and I'm so pleased with it now. The fit is lovely, and I just really love the poofy sleeve detailing. So it's actually got gathering around this section at the top here on the top, and then it's got gathering around the the cuff section as well. I really love the colour of this fabric. I love that it's got spots, and I just love the kind of teal colour. I think that's just really nice, and it's something that will work for a lot of different seasons, I think. So I really like that. So I will slip these on in a second so you can see them. So the next one I wanted to show you is the first version that I've made, and I actually made this out of some fabric scraps that I had, and they were from a t-shirt, or 2 t-shirts actually, that I made for my husband. So this is my other version, and you can probably see the detailing a little bit more on this one. So I actually used a twin needle to stitch around the neckline there. I don't think that's an essential. You can do that if you want to, but it's kind of entirely up to you. As I said, it's got the lovely gathering detail, and I quite like in this version how you can just really see the cuff and the neckband, and I don't know, you use different fabrics sometimes, different colourways. I think it just kind of emphasises things a little bit better. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that, but I would recommend trying this pattern if you haven't already, because I just think it's a t-shirt that's just got a little bit something interesting about it, something a little bit different. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be making some more of these. I think my next version might even be floral or something like that, something a little bit different. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to slip one of these on so you can actually see the fit of it. I shall put on the teal version because I think that's probably my favourite one. So here it is. This is my teal version of the t-shirt, and yeah, I just really love it. It's just such a lovely t-shirt. I love just the plain neckband here. Oh, by the way, I did actually lower the neckband by 4 inches. So it was supposed to sit much higher on the neck, but for me, I don't really like things that are too tight in that area, or too high, should I say. So I just decided to lower that down a little bit. I used the same neckband pattern piece, but I just extended that slightly so that, it basically went round the curve a little bit better. So, but that worked really, really well. But as you can see, it's got this lovely detailing here, and I'm just going to stand up so you can see the fit a little bit more. So it comes down to my high hip, I would say, and I used a twin needle to finish off the bottom of the t-shirt as well. So, but overall, such a good make. I would say it takes slightly longer to make than a really basic t-shirt, just because you've got that gathering to do, but it's well worth it, and it's still a really quick make, something that you can do in just a few hours. So yeah, it's really, really good. I'm really pleased with it. So but that's all I've got to share with you today. So I hope you've enjoyed watching my video. If you have, I would love it if you could consider pressing that like button. Leave me any comments below that you'd like to. I really love to hear from you in the comments. So whether you've got questions, or I'd love to know what you're working on at the minute. If you've got different projects that you've got on the go, that would be amazing if you could let me know about those. And if you haven't already, I'd love it if you could subscribe to my channel. I can't believe it that I've hit more than 5,000 subscribers now, so I'm so thankful to everyone who has subscribed so far. I love making these videos, so hopefully you're enjoying watching them as well. So that's really nice to know. But thank you so much for being with me today. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and hopefully I'll be back on the channel really soon. See you soon. Bye.